today, Ms. Anisha, BCA coordinator, Ms. Sudha, and teachers and friends. I, Ms. T.Y.B.C.A, welcome you all for today's seminar on CV writing and mock interview. I request Ms. Sudha to escort Ms. Anisha to the desk. We are blessed to have an incredible business person for today, Ms. Anisha Jamolkar, manager her BBA in HR from BCA College and BA in HR from T.Y.B.C.A, Pune and post-graduation in legal law from BCA College of Law. She has taught at BCA College in 2015 to 2019. She has 13 years of experience in HR. Ma'am has now turned into a dedicated entrepreneur with a passion in the field of HR, majorly between having a startup called Visa Hiring Solutions, Vasco Goa. Let us all put our hands together to welcome her. As a token of welcome, appreciation, and a symbol of growth and prosperity, I request Ms. Sudha to present a potted plant to Ms. Anisha. Thank you, Ms. I now request Ms. Sudha to take over the session.
Before Anisha starts the session, I request all of you all to put in your 100% and do not fumble if any questions are thrown at you all. Okay, this is a session that is kept especially for our T.Y.B.C.A students so that you all know how to answer the interviews, what are the basic things that are necessary. All the questions that will be asked will be nothing related to our ID per se, but in general. So the session is for you all to know what are the basic things that are necessary. Okay, sometimes we just walk up and go and answer some interviews. Okay, but what is also necessary is how to present yourself. Sometimes for a normal presentation also, you all do not take that into consideration. So please put in your energy here rather than loitering everywhere. Okay? So now I request Anisha to take it.
First of all, I think that was a very warm welcome on the BCA section of T.Y.B.C.A College. Firstly, thank you for getting me here and being part of the session where I can interact with students going to now next 3 months starts. Majority I think are going to look for a job, or many people are going to take up a further study. How many of you are pursuing MCA or how many of you are going to take up MCA next? How many of you? Quite a number. That's great. It's always better to have, the more you study, the better you generate your knowledge. So yes, if you have an option of taking up a job, that is also fine. Even if you want to take up pursue your further studies, that is also a very good option. So I am not going to make this section a boring one. Neither it will be like I'm going to ask you questions and compulsory pick up students to ask, but I want this to be more interactive when you guys ask me questions voluntarily, or at least try to attempt to answer the questions in those presentations I'll put forward. Again, yes, now with AI and ChatGPT making CVs and things have become very easy. It's just a matter of 1 week to get a CV. Here, I'm not going to get into technicality on your designing part, but I'm going to just brief you on what exactly an interview looks at when it comes to when a resume of a fresher gets into our hands. Like my briefing has already been done by summer. So, as we rightly said, this is my 15th year in human resource career, and I have been working with various companies as a HR manager before I took a decision of becoming an HR. So, my journey has started as a trainee HR, and then I grew myself to becoming an HR manager, and then I decided to take up further steps to become an entrepreneur. So after 14 years of my journey as a corporate employee, I now stand here basically with my own setup called BCA Hiring Solutions. Basically, we are a recruitment consultancy which is based in Warsaw, and we do placements right from IT jobs to manufacturing jobs, hotel jobs, any kind of jobs. It is not the only pertaining to IT or pertaining to any particular sector. It is also a general recruitment. So even once the session gets over, maybe Sita ma'am can share my details to you in case you are looking for a job or you have options of looking for further assistance in terms of your anything to do with this particular session. I'll be ready to help. Okay. So I think let's start, and again my humble request, please put your phone on silent so that we do not get disturbance and we finish the thing finer faster when we have the equal interactions here and there. Yeah? Initially, I was just going to cover up on how your human needs to look or what an employer looks when they get their CVs in hand. Like, I have a screening of nearly more than I would say 50 screenings done in a day, because recruitment has always been my passion. And I will tell you how your screening is done or how once the resume gets in somebody's hand, what an employer looks at in your resume. Okay? So please feel free to ask questions. If you have any doubts, stop and ask questions. Read the time, any language. Yeah? So please pay attention because this is very important. The CVs which we are getting every year, passing out students have become a disaster in classroom. Because the content of the CV is just copy pasted from ChatGPT. The resumes are just same. People don't even bother to change the objectives. Sometimes the word dates are same when we go for interviews or campus interviews to colleges. At least same students have same copy-pasted resume. So what is an identity of you as a personality is going to give an impression to an employer who is going to come to social media, right? So I'm here basically to tell you all where, what exactly is mistakes commonly students are doing. I'm not going to talk about how an experienced CV resume. I will more focus on a fresher's resume, what an employer is looking for during screening. Okay? Again, that would be, I think, around 15 minutes what we're going to talk. My next session would be basically on your grooming and what a personality trait you need to carry during an interview. Right from how you need to look, how you need to present, what all an employer looks when they interview a candidate. And my last part would be questions commonly asked for interview and what are the best possible answers you need to present. Again, this is general things. It's not specific to your particular subject because you know what I am going to specialize in after doing your MBA. So then that would be on your curriculum. Like specifically about your programming or coding or anything that will be specific to your subject. But other than that, obviously you need to follow your subject because that is the taught to your BCA and MBA. But other than that, on what general questions an employer focuses on which your screening or shortlisting is done, and we are going to talk about. Okay, so my session is going to be divided into 3 parts, and then please stop, feel free to ask questions because this is nothing going to be boring. I can already see people's faces that it's already 12 o'clock and I'm standing here to give sessions on how to make CVs. So please pay attention. I would appreciate that people ask these questions. Thank you. basically are the basic things somebody is looking at
when it comes to CV? Yes. So basically the first impression, before even somebody calls you for an interview, before even you meet the candidate or employer or the company where you are applying, the first impression is your resume. So the company in that 30 seconds, how your resume looks, in that 30-second impression is made whether the employer wants to meet you for an interview or a CV is thrown away as a piece of paper along with the other candidates. Because I tell you, the positions which are over companies would be around 4 and application would have received like hundreds. So where do you stand in this 4 candidates? Because unless you will called for an interview, I think the employer would not know how good you are, right? So I'm sure everybody sitting here at least would want to answer an interview when you are applying for a company. I'm sure everyone would want to, right? So that is the reason why the CV needs to be proper and what basic data which needs to be there on the CV and what an employer basically looks at while screening is what we're going to talk here about. Okay? So the first impression somebody makes is through your CV once you get a resume in hand. Obviously, now if you go to ChatGPT or through internet, you get 100 number of formats which the CV is available. So there is no, hustle and fuss rules which says your CV has to be in a particular format or has to be in a color format. Try and keep your background of the CV white, so that it is easy to more than put a lot of fancy colors on it, unless you are trying to make a career somewhere in film industry or something like that. If it is a professional CV, all it has to be in a white background. So what firstly is checked is your name, which has to be proper bold. You cannot have your name and other part of the CV in the same format or same size and same content. So at least ensure that the name what you're putting has to be standing out. The first impression for somebody or first thing somebody is looking at the CV. Your name basically on the CV. So we receive resumes which has CV written on top, and then we have to search where the name of the person who is applying for. These such mistakes have to be avoided. Okay? So your name, contact information, right from your city, where you stay, because half of the CVs do not have addresses mentioned. The reason why I am mentioning this is, for example, you are applying somewhere in South Goa, in Vietnam, and you are from BCA. The first thing, shortlisting will be done basically on your location. So you need to mention your proper address. Where are you from? Including your city and your area where you belong to. Okay? And whether it is a permanent address, temporary address, please mention that on your resume. Because these are the first two things what an employee looks at when we check basically the CV. Say suppose the vacancy is in South Goa. You have nowhere mentioned the address of it. People just write sign of pandemic over. They don't even write addresses on your CV. So we don't even call them for interview. For the reason why, because I don't know whether you're from BCA or you're from pandemic. It is based on time whether if the vacancy is in South Goa, why would I call you there? It's common sense. So ensure that such basic things has to be properly put in under the next. Again, mobile numbers, working phone numbers, because there are people who have separate WhatsApp number and separate calling number. So it gets very difficult to understand an employer which number to call on. The first number mentioned on the CV is the one which you are going to call on. So ensure that it is a working phone number and not a WhatsApp number. No employer calls people on WhatsApp. Your email address and your LinkedIn ID. And I'm sure now this everybody more than your social media accounts. And how many of you have LinkedIn account here? I think almost everybody. Even if you don't, please make one if you're looking to get into a professional company and professional career, because your majority job recruitment, what we sourcing is from either LinkedIn through posting or your job portal, not free or Monster or anything else which you have option of applying with. Okay? So basically what you need to look at your LinkedIn, again your LinkedIn account cannot be a Facebook account or an Instagram account. It is a proper professional network channel which speaks exactly about more of what have you done in terms of curriculum and in which field in terms of your BCA or MCA you want to make a career in. Here, again, next, your email ID has to be a professional one. We still have people receiving CVs david@gmail.com or random things of names and number combination which you get on CV. So if tomorrow, that is okay if you are starting or having an account connected to any social media, but if you are getting into a professional career where you expect companies to send an offer letter and invitations of interviews over an email, please ensure that even if you don't have a professional email ID, please create one because that is what the impression which is created about you as a personality. And next is your birth date. People half of the time don't mention the year of birth and think on CVs. No, please mention the proper date, month and birth on the CV because we understand the age of the candidate through a birth date. Sometimes the criteria of shortlisting is age as well because at certain companies there will be particular generation or age group employment which is candidates they employed as. So this is also very important. Don't wait for an employer to call you to ask your birthday. So few things which I think 50% of CVs content are missing now is basic information. Okay? So please ensure these mistakes are not repeated with me. From our back we can see you also have T.Y.B.C.A. Next. Okay, what is the objective which has been mentioned by the CV? Anything, any random guess? I just put some examples here. So what is the career objective which is exactly the first thing which is mentioned on the CV? Anything, any random guess? Okay, because that's a specific thing what you're looking at in terms of career. Anything else? Anything else? Yes. So again, a career objective is nothing but it speaks specifically about what particular field are you looking to get your career into. I'm sure it is not necessary that after passing your BCA or an MCA, everybody gets an IT job. Because today, let's be practical, the employment facilities in Goa or anywhere else in India, there are a lot of students passing out and not everybody gets a job in the field what you started in. So you should not take it up so negatively and wait till you get an IT job. It doesn't work that way. If you are, don't keep your basically my thing to tell you is don't keep too many big gaps on your CV after you pass out from your college. Even if you're getting a job in any other field, okay, and if you say, it may not be today, an example, my husband is an MCA graduate, but today he is a GM of Hyundai, he is in sales, nothing to do with computers, but he is doing very well in terms of his career. It may not be today that, you study your MCA and have to make a career in IT, not necessarily. Anybody can excel in any kind of career you choose onto or get into. So basically, again, objective has to be every time you are applying for a different job, your objective changes. Your CV cannot be common. Like I am applying to say a company called where. Okay, your career objective has to change when you apply for systems because again the job role and job specification what you are applying changes. So your career objective also has to change every time you change your application of your CV. Clear to clear? Yes, because today, say example, you are applying, as he rightly said, he gave his career objective. Today he has to apply somewhere in sales. Just giving an example. You cannot have that as a career objective in applying sales because by the time somebody shortlists to give to you, you are so careless with the basic information you are providing on a piece of paper. Yes? Next. Okay, anyway, next slide. Example, somebody who is already working. What we look at on a CV is your job role, basically as an assistant manager or an executive or a web developer or a SQL developer, it has to be specifically mentioned there. Persistence India Limited, Verna. That's enough. And then comes date. Proper date from which date you joined that company and the year. Whether it was still working, then you can write currently or till date, like how 2010 till present. If not, then next is your major job role, what you've done in the company, that comes in. Okay, so again, this is after probably you take up a first job and what how an employment is mentioned in the CV, we talk that way. Education, again, always the highest level of education comes first, like your MCA or BCA, then comes the highest education and then comes the SC. Never put your SC on top and then come down. Highest level of education comes first. Similar to even working, your current employer has to come first and the previous old experiences come down. Clear? Again, now next is a few things which you need to keep in mind. When you mention about your education, you need to mention about your college name. Next comes university affiliation too. Very, very important. Because nowadays there are so many private institutes which are having courses and not all the private institutes are considered to be. Like example, there was one university called ICFA which was started as an MBA program long back. But they are present or affiliated only in certain cities in India. In Goa they are not recognized. So people or students who have done their MBA or master's degree in this particular institute is not a recognized institute. So when I shortlist, I will consider their last degree is BCA and not the further 2 years what they have done. So that is the reason even once you all choose a college to study or post graduation, affiliation to which university and academics is very, very important. Because those 2 years of your life are very important. Correct? So after your graduation, now yes, your Saraswat college is affiliated to Goa University. Similarly, when you choose your college to do your MCA, check which affiliation your college is having. Yes, that is the reason why what basic information you need to write about your education. One is your college name. Next comes your university, which university is affiliated to, and your passing. Only these 3 information. Clear? Next, part is your professional skills for information. When you see down, Microsoft Excel, Word, publication, knowledge of HTML, Java, Virtual Basic. These are the basic information which you have to mention on your CV. Whereas for a fresher, we do screening looking at this specific thing in your personal professional skills only. Because what else is there to screen on your CV? Usually what happens for a experienced candidate, we do screening based on the previous job or previous company. But for other students like you guys, you are internship programs for them. So then this is what we will look at specifically for technical skills. Like of late, I have been hired for one of my clients in Verna Industrial for a SQL developer. Okay. Now they are open to even take a BCA or an MCA fresher. The grant has given the option to even opt for fresher. So what he specifically is looking at Python, Power BI, that I will look at in your professional skills. You understood what I am trying to talk to you about? Yes? Any questions still here? Yeah, so this professional skill in terms of your knowledge, what you studied in your college, is what comes here. Because that is on what makes your screening or your interest level in that particular field understand. Yeah? Next. These are basic things. And size, you cannot have 18 font size, the entire CP of 18 font size. No. So alignment has to be proper. And these are the basic things I don't have to tell you. But some things people still do mistakes on extension here. So it should be a one-time paper and reader friendly. Next. So try to avoid sentences like I, me. It should be general. Like an objective has to be general. So don't specifically talk about you or your CV. It should be general things, general content which has to be there on the CV. Again, please do a spell check. Nowadays, people who type it in Word, do right click and then do spell check and happen. Today, 70% of the CVs and
grammar mistakes. Imagine an employer making an impression about you when he sees a basic grammar mistake on your CV. Because your CV is the one who is going to decide if you are going to get a call for an interview or not. So 90% here is the problem that people don't even check grammar. Because honestly, this few things matter. Out of 100 applications we receive for 2 job postings, or what basic duty for a fresher to get shortlisted, all these things, right? So your grammar has to be proper, your CV alignment has to be proper, content has to be proper, is the basics. These are the basic outlines what I am talking about. If you see, the photo is again, photograph is not compulsory, but again it looks presentable when you put a photo. So you still have an option whether to put a photograph or not to put a photograph, but the photos have to be a professional photo. I see people doing professional photo shoots around with their friends and posting those photos on their TV. So try and avoid pictures with your family. You should be having a proper formal dress up background, a proper photo which goes on your TV. Okay? Then comes your, this is just an example of a format, your career objectives, your academic background, your internship, if any. If not, you can mention your professional skills which is there. Then comes the skills, what I spoke about, expertise. This is just a format. Contact information and about you. Again, this is just one page CV. There is nothing fancy in this, but for a fresher, more than one page CV. One page CV is more than enough. And then once you get your experience, maybe then your page CV increases because your job roles and your details of your responsibilities then come into position. So for a fresher, one page CV is also enough, but basic details, all what I spoke few minutes back has to be covered. Yeah, so if you see this CV, it has everything what I spoke sometime back covered in that one page. And then last is your hobbies or interests. I get CVs with people mentioning hobbies and walking or dog. That's a hobby or an interest, but people still do not understand lyrics today. The reason why I am here is I have to tell you all what basic things have to be, to be added on to think of when making a CV. Right? This is another example. Just a format change, but content remains the same what I spoke. Yes? I'm done with the CV. Any questions now till here? Because I didn't tell you any rocket science, which I'm sure you all have not understood anything. But please, if you have any questions on till here in the CV design part, please stop and ask. Please move on to the next part. Any questions till now? Have anything to add on? Yes. Anything till now with your CV part? Yes. Not necessary. Not necessary. But if you have space and you have option to write, you can. But marks you can, obviously your mark sheets will be asked during your interview. Once the screening is done, the marks will be asked there. But as I told you, you are not going to be called for an interview just because you are a topper. That is the reason why we don't focus on marks at all when screening your candidates. But we focus on all other things what I spoke about. So you need not be a class topper or you will not be the brightest student in the class for which you will be called for an interview. Possibly that the brightest student might not be called for an interview for all the mistakes he's done or she's done in the CV what we spoke here. Clear? So just take a look at this video. This is a video which during an interview how there are two scenarios which is shown in this video. One boy basically would be what are basically do's and what are the don'ts for the interview. So once this video is over, I'm going to ask a question. So please pay attention during that till the video is played on. Okay, because I'm going to
not move closer to the individual and also not let your share in this. The receptionist gave permission to walk into the office, so I did say, you should keep walking even though the individual is somewhere else. Walk on here, in slow motion till the individual gets, and then shake hands and have a seat. These gestures will enter the heart. Detail how confident you are walking in the office and you don't have time to face. At the beginning, you should avoid gaze by not being clapping the office. Confuse it. This will give you a chance to observe and later, the individual will be comfortable with your presence. You should use calm and polite gestures while moving. Never raise your hands above your chin and then cross your arms and legs at any time you need to. If you are cool and demanding control, you will use their vocabulary and receive for you. When you are not talking, give your hands to the speakers. This shows that you are confident and controlled. Are you listening to talk and trying to escape by the voices in your engine? This is not the future question. This means that you are starting to work and you are not confident at all. The way you sit is important. When you are prepared to sit in the lower chair, or when you put your lying in the park, or when you put your boots in the lower person's space, turn the lower part of your body away 45 degrees to avoid being stuck in the default position. So you will be comfortable with your hands. Handshakes will play a major role in our lives. There are 3 ways you can receive or give a handshake: palm up, palm down, and straight handshake. These are the 3 ways. Always give a straight handshake, and if you are getting a palm down handshake, step to the left, go forward. After the meeting, you must calmly and politely ask your name. Stand up and handshake any person. People watching from behind you more. If you are a man, then forget for the situations, especially the knees, because this is the critical point for human beings. In your moment, just be ready to see her, especially that you don't have a moving part. However, before you close the door, turn back and be the genuine square. Isn't it part of it to be called the final safety skill rather than the reactive pressure?
Was it difficult what it showed in the video? Was it? But people still do the same mistake again during an interview when they go to answer an interview. Why? Because you were conscious. I understand that nervousness the first time you answer an interview, all that is there is for you. But why the nervousness comes? Because you want to prepare yourself. 90% of the time, people just walk in. I'm sure it is never a call in the morning saying that you have to come at 3 o'clock to answer an interview. Always inform people 2 days prior at least. So here in this video, if you see the first part of it, it shows that the boy, let's talk about from the first part itself, the reception area. Again, it is not compulsory that you have to stand so it's shown there. You can take a seat and have a seat and then maybe browse something on your phone. But do not get into unnecessary conversation with the other fellow candidate asking which position are you from for, or where are you from, which position are you applying. It's none of your business. You are come for an interview, like unlike the other candidates sitting there are also coming for an interview. You see the first part where the employer is trying to peek in from the window from his cabin to see what are they doing outside. That also matters. How fidgety you are, how distracted you are also matters. Because the same thing happens when you take up a job for the first time. See, for a fresher, because this is going to make you stand out from the other candidates who are going to come there to answer an interview. Because if you are going to be a normal candidate unlike the other people, why will even they offer you a job for a fresher? Because you know the ratio of how many colleges are there in Goa today, how many companies are passing, how many candidates are passing out. Do you think everybody gets employment? No, right? So you need to ensure that why you are good is what comes during the interview. So the first part, yes, as I told you, don't get into it. Second thing is the first candidate which you see, he has folded his CV and put it in the pocket. Is that the way you carry your CV? No, right? Your CV has to be a proper put or put in a folder and carry it. So that when the interview is asking you for a copy, you open your folder and keep the CV. Never give your folder to an employer for them to open it. Remove your CV from the folder and hand over the CV to the employer. Again, you need to carry your documents, but giving documents as a first stage will not be compulsory unless they ask you for it. Okay? You see the second part where the candidate confidently took his paper and then he walked, right? The first guy stood, he started to insert his shirt and tried to, adjust his. All this is because of nervousness. I understand you get nervous when it's the first 2-3 interviews, but then again, practice at home properly. Look yourself at a mirror. You have 2 days time before answering an interview, right? Practice. Because unless you are confident in your own thing, it's not like it's a competition where you have to go on the stage and take up a mic and start talking, right? It is one-on-one, which is what is going to happen in an interview room. So, your body language, the way you walk confidently, the way you speak, all that matters. That is the reason why your body language next come in the picture before you even open your mouth. The way you are dressed, again formal, compulsory, irrespective of what position you go to answer an interview, you have to be dressed in a proper formal way. Like a men, it's not compulsory that a long shirt and all that, but proper formal clothing. With right from your shoes to your shirt has to be proper, neatly ironed, and shoes has to be polished. All that matters. Because you cannot wear casual shoes on that is okay when you are in college, but not during an interview or take up a job. Because even when you get a job, they tell you the formals are compulsory. So all that things matters. For a women, it will not be a formal suit or anything. Even a salwar or a kurta work, properly ironed and properly, wore. The salwar suit is also okay. There is no compulsion of clothing when it comes to interviews. Then the third part was the way he sat. You see, there was a distance kept by the interview table and where he was sitting, right? The interview, he was already sitting with his feet. You have to keep your feet properly and not keep your legs crossed and then try to get distracted, touching your hair when somebody is asking you a question. So few basic things what has to be kept in mind. Yes? Any questions over the interview video? What do you think? Yes? Any more questions now? Yes? No? Can you move ahead further? Is it getting boring? Please speak. Yes? So please, if you have questions, unless you make it interactive, you will not understand and nothing will go in there. So, as I said, the moment you get a call saying that your application is shortlisted for an interview, you will be told at least minimum 24 hours prior. It is never in the morning saying that you have to come in the evening today for an interview. So, you either have 2-3 days prior in hand or 24 hours in hand. So, do a proper research in the company. The first thing people will ask you is what you know about my company, and then there is a bright face right across from a candidate. So you have time, right? It's just a matter of putting the name of the company in Google and reading about the company. They don't want to know who the founder, who started out the company. The basic things, what products they are into, what are the client services they are dealing with, and where are the offices, or the basic information about the company. Yes? Proper research of the company. So background of the company, what is what we do, the slight symbol behind. Yes. Okay. Now next, your first impression sounds. That is the reason I asked you your body language and the way you carry your confidence matters. You may not be you wore the best outfit ever, and if your body language is not proper, you are not the one. So clothing doesn't matter. Yes, neatly and formally dress matters, but more of it is how confident are you in terms of walking, talking, and carrying yourself. Impression is a crucial part of success of an entity. Again, basic rules. If an interview is a female, so you will offer a handshake. Basic question I ask you. You tell me what to do first. Yes, a handshake needs to be offered. Yes. If they offer you a handshake, offer a handshake. These are basic etiquette when it comes to dealing with a female employer. Okay? Unless if it is a male employer, you are the male, giving a handshake is completely fine. But if it is a female sitting over the table taking an interview, wait till the approach comes from the other end. Because these are the basic things what you need to remember. As rightly said, job interview is like your first date. The impression what you create on your first date is forever remaining. Whether your relation is going to get sustained or it is going to get ended there. So always remember, the first impression is the last impression. Yes? So next time, I'm sure everybody has girlfriends and boyfriends. The way you go dress up and carry yourself when you meet your girlfriend or boyfriend, the same thing you need to carry that confidence when you go to the interview. Next. Awkwardness is always there. You don't know what is the outcome also after the interview. But at least you are attempt and things matters. Yes? Be prepared. As I already said, practice. You cannot, today you have an interview at 10 o'clock. You cannot iron your clothes at 8 o'clock in the morning. What if the current goes at it? So basic things, what we always tell candidates, because we still, I'm sure this thing happens in college also. Everything happens last minute, submission happens last minute, but you cannot do it basically during an interview or things because you don't know. That is the last chance or first chance you're getting to impress an employer. You should read the CV properly. If you're seeking some rectification, because randomly somebody might ask you, tell me your career objective. You have copy pasted that from Google. Now how will you remember what you copy pasted? So that is the reason don't write big paragraph, because one sentence is not something which you can remember. I will show you maybe the next commonly asked questions during an interview in my next. You are in the slide, right? I'm not running through the slide there. Again, now the next part is basically the confidence will be showed, which we see in the video. You should not fumble, you should not, lose the confidence. You should take very responsibility and answer questions, properly. Even if you don't know the answer, tell the interviewer nicely, say that, ma'am, I didn't get your question, can you please repeat? Or I didn't understand your question, can you please ask again? It's fine to ask that, rather than answering wrong. answer. Because you take pointers once you speak and then regret and then why did you speak that? Again, very important, be positive. So, confidence, carry smile throughout, you cannot be an attitude, still enjoy it, all that matters. The interviews expect you to be enthusiastic, next, talented, if you will already talk to your college in terms of the subject matter, and be sure it's positive. You cannot get aggressive in it. You are not understanding or you are not being able to. Sometimes that interview question can get into an argument or a debate. Again, you are not there to prove yourself right. Okay, it's okay to once you calmly listen to an employee, you still disagree, you can put forward to them saying that okay, I'm not completely agreeing to this, but this is my point of view towards particular expert sector. So sometimes people just test you to understand how much good I am in their company. Next, I think there is a reason now. This is already been covered up when I spoke. Clarify anything so we are not sure of. So if you have any doubts, please ask the employer. Like you, after the entire interview is over, you will get a chance to answer. An example, once the interview is over, they will ask you if you have any questions to ask. That is the time you need to talk. Not while in between and saying, no, I didn't understand this. Or in between of the interview, people ask you questions like, what are the work times? You will get an opportunity to talk. When after the interview is over, the employer is going to ask you if you have any questions or that is the time to ask all these six questions. Not in between. Your work timing, your leave, whatever you have to ask, your work holiday or whatever it is, ask at the end when the entire interview is over. Appearance we covered already. Hair, especially boys, your hair has to be properly cut and shaved. You cannot have just randomly how you walk into your college, you cannot do that during an interview. Same to female, if you are leaving your hair, it has to be properly pinned up and things, not randomly, And then this is a distraction because when answering the interview, imagine a hair comes inside, you put it behind every now and then. So that is the reason why all these things matters. We'll cover up the last is commonly asked questions. Now I need people to randomly stand up and I think about students. Okay? You give your attempt on how do you answer this question. Either this one line the question, you tell what best you feel would be an answer. It's fine. So tell me something about yourself. So the first question, irrespective of which interview you answer, this is the first question which is thrown out to you. So what is the best answer you think anybody, any randomly, somebody would think? You have only 15 seconds to answer this. It cannot be a paragraph anything that you want talking about. Maximum 30 seconds. So tell me something about yourself. Or tell me something which is not in your CV. People are going to ask you. Over this interview. So there is everything will mention on the CV. Your birthday, where you think, what have you studied, all that is mentioned on the CV. So what do you think should be the answer here? Any random guess?
You can speak silently. So the first thing you speak is your name. Then what else? Okay, education, yes. What else? Skills is mentioned on the thing. That does not be told. Using an interview is fine. Anything else? Okay, I will do my introduction to you. Imagine you are the interviewer sitting across the table and I am my employee. coming or a candidate answering an interview. The question asked to please tell me something about yourself. I will speak with my name is Anisha Rambolkar. I stay Pandit. I have completed my post-graduation in Combined School and MBA HR, and then my post-graduation in T.Y.B.C.A College. I am married, having 2 kids, and specifically speak about the family background. Because that is what is not mentioned on your CV. To tell about your mother, father, your siblings, your sisters, what they do, that's enough. Hobbies, everything is there on your CV, right? So one thing is your name, education, qualification, where you stay, and your family background. This has to be get covered if they ask you tell me something about yourself. So the family background is not covered in your CV. Clear? Next. Why should I hire you? Another common question. Why should I hire you? What do you tell them? Somebody else now, a new face who needs to answer. Why should I hire you? Anything is some. There is never a wrong and a right answer to get interview. Never.
Because I have the skills.
What else? No, he's right. He's right. He's right. What else? So the question asked is why should they hire you? So you need to tell what after hiring you, what are you going to finish talking behind? So the next question I will ask you is why should I hire you? So the simple question you need to answer is what are you going to have after you joining the organization? What are the positive things they are going to gain from you joining as a candidate? So what you need to tell is that in writing book, I have the skills to particular say suppose X, Y, Z skills specifically they are hiring you to speak about, you can talk about that. And you also speak about I am a team player, you can talk about that as well. In college I have handled a team of say 3-4 people handling a project together. I have been always a proactive listener. So that can help your organization or the colleagues in your office to grow as well. So basic things, this is not a rocket science what somebody is going to ask you. Next. Yes. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Next, very important question. Because what else will ask for fresher? They will not ask anything technical to you. Irrespective your answering is technical interview, but usually 60% focus is going to be on basic questions. Because technical things, so you know knowledge, it's taught to you knowledge. Practically when you start working, that's a different thing altogether. So the second interview, say suppose you work with XYZ company for 3 years, and the second interview which you want to answer will be 90% technical interview. Then they will not be interested to know all these things from you. But now since they are all the freshers, this is what the candidates are going to be asked. Not technical things, more of it. Technical things are there, specific to the position you apply on, but other things now, these things are going to matter. So strengths and weaknesses, you need to tell about your strengths, about your weaknesses too, it's fine. So the next one, say suppose you say that you have a weakness of stage fear. Your strength could be very good communicator. Your weakness could be if you Google and so many strengths and weaknesses by itself you can overcome, right? If they are basics. So the very fact that I ask you about your weakness, tell me about your weakness, and you say stage fear. But you need to tell how are you going to overcome your weakness. Because that's the next question I'm going to ask you. How are you overcoming your weakness? Which means I'm practicing to talk, I'm volunteering to answer, I volunteered in college to take a basically give a presentation to my colleagues. You can speak on all that basic things. Just give me an example. It could be any kind of weakness you are trying to overcome. Next.
want to work with our company. I think that is indirectly covered in my first question. Second question is, should I hire you or put this either of this? Okay? Same answer. What is the difference between they are not in the part of the yes. What is the difference between a hard work and a smart work? Any answer? This could be any city examples. Any city example. But this also matters.
Use of AI.
Can you work under pressure? Next very important question.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, I think this was example now. Because yes, it will not survive.
Like we get donkeys from official.
Work under pressure, yes. You can't say that you get donkey from your professor. That's why you can work under pressure. You can't say that. Some other new answer. Yes, that's correct. So we have a lot of assignment of deadlines which has to be abided on. So that is the reason I can work under pressure. Please don't say no. Even if you can't work under pressure, if you want to get to work in a job, you have to say yes to this question. Because college life is much better when you work, you have to really work in slow. Life at corporate level is not as easy as what you think now sitting here at college. And trust me when I say that. That is the reason why people leave a job in first 3 months of a job, especially freshers. I've got 70% of your generation freshers who do not sustain in the first 3 months. Why? Because मम्मी सांगता करायला काम करताना सोड सेम थिंग इज ॲप्लिकेबल आहे मागचे ट्रॅव्हलिंग करायला काम सोड if you want genuinely if you want to make a career and if you really want to grow in life you have to work under pressure and the first 1 year of your work experience will really matter because that's the reason whether you are sustaining in a company or not which will tell you in that first 1 year of your job 70% no girls only 30% who have placed freshers have been sustained in those companies. Irrespective of what the job is. And it is not only IT or I'm talking about CS or any specific thing. It is any kind of job. Because people, students nowadays are not used to work under pressure. What pressure your professors are putting you to study is nothing. The way your managers put pressure on you when it comes to work is at a different level altogether. Are you willing to relocate or travel? What would you answer? Yes. Because if you want to grow, you have to upgrade. Because the company might have branches in Bangalore, if you are talking about IT, you will have to travel. Because it is an option to go abroad as well. So you have to keep your mind and eyes open. The very fact is, you are not sure everybody wants to make a career in IT, right? So you have to be open to travel. Whether you are a male, female, doesn't matter. You have to be open to travel. Because sometimes trains are in other outstanding states. These are the basic things that we need to say yes to. Next. What are your goals? Yes. What are your goals? You can speak about where do you see goal as money. You might say that you are an employer. Your goal is money. No, you need to speak about, say suppose you joined as a junior, programmer, you are looking to become a software developer in next 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. Those could be your goals. Where do you see yourself next is what you need to speak here. And in the same organization, majorly, please ensure that you impress by telling that I want to grow your own company in this company also. Otherwise, good job. I was expecting this answer, but everybody gives me the salary. What else? You don't have to tell them salary, yes, one part. Then you can tell the second time. The first thing what you need to tell them is appreciation. Or something which is nice for somebody to learn. Everybody knows money motivates everybody, but you need to tell them something which is nice to learn. Yes, work environment, very good answer. Yes. Food, not all the companies provide food. Yeah, no one next. What makes you angry? Everybody is laughing. I'm sure everybody is answers to this. I'm telling you why, because all these questions are going to imagine you are looking black and on an interview table and somebody is asking how questions like this. Will you leave this live page for employer as well? I'm going to put this forward, all these questions to Vietnam so that you will prepare yourself when you are going to answer anywhere in the world. What makes you angry? I'm sure everybody gets angry somewhere or the other, right? Any personality trait which I tell you that is spoken or not spoken to me, anything could be. Perfectly right answer or diplomatic one that is. If there is no proper team coordination, you will get angry. Sounds good. What else? See, so again, don't give this blank question to people that you answer and enter to. At least attempt something.
Salary वाढवणार.
So the interview, the first day you will tell the same thing, salary वाढवणार will be angry. How do you think increments happen in a company when you join? Yeah? How do you think your salary increase when you join a company? Anything you want to have in mind different things? Yes. Work experience. No. Every year your salary increase provided you perform in that 1 year. There is something called as performance appraisal which is taken care of. Every organization you join, every professional company you join will get a yearly increment. Provided how good are you in that 1 year. You don't have to ask for the time. You always get posted with the offer. Give me examples of what you give to people. I think like that. Just everybody will answer. What is it? 3 years? It could be any project, college project, what you have done together. Anything which will stand you or make you different. Could be any small thing what you are trying to do, an experiment at home also could be something which people would want to learn from you. Any examples you have from college? Yes? Designing certificates for college, okay. Anything else? Do you have any projects you want to learn? Then, I think ma'am had answer to this question of yours. So, yes. Okay, it could be as we rightly said, you have a 100-mark project, right? You can speak about that project in this person will ask you. Because especially when it is an IT guy or a marketing guy, we want to know specific how creative you are. The College? What are the career options you have? I think everybody knows that, right? What are the career options you have right now? It will not be, again, tomorrow you go and answer. Say suppose you didn't get any computer or IT jobs anywhere. You're going and answering a sales job. He will ask you this question. What will you answer? He'll ask you, finish talking, otherwise will come in 7 times. Or if you can share the discussion happening to the entire class, everybody also knows what is happening in that. The question will be asked to you is, you have done an MCA or a BCA, why are you answering a marketing interview today about a sales job? Why? What will you say? What will you say? Any random thing. You need to answer this. Today's market scenario is very difficult to get. Giving an example, it is very difficult to get an IT job. That is the reason I do not want to stay home back. I would want to get into a new career option. If I like doing sales, I would continue to do so. Because you should not give an impression saying that this is a temporary thing. Till you get an IT job, you will change for 6 months, and then once you get an IT job, you go back. Don't give that impression to your employer. Even if I'm sure you're going to do that, but keep it to yourself only. You don't have to tell them that. Say that after 6 months you're going to go back to your IT job. No. You know that you're going to look for options in an IT, right? Now you suddenly say that why you want that particular job or you're answering an interview for. What are your outside interests? That could be anything, writing, your social media, your anything it could be, but something sensible. Toughest decision you ever had to make. It could be your career option, successful standard, or anything else, maybe, or choosing a college after your BCA, which university to choose. Anything more tougher, or it could be any family situation which you've taken a tougher decision at home. Tough decisions are not choosing to buy a car or choosing to buy a bike or a phone. Yes, our yes. The most important question, and the last one probably. How much salary do you expect?
60,000.
How much do you think you should ask salary?
Starting, whatever they give.
For a fresher,
60.
okay, yes. For a fresher, the best diplomatic answer you need to give is based on the company norms. You cannot demand the salary when you are a fresher. I know everybody has certain expectations of XYZ figure in mind, but you cannot put forward or be demanding at the first job. Yes, for the second job when I go to answer an interview, you can expect maximum as per industry standard is 30% higher than your current salary. That is the industry standard today. What we are offering to all the candidates. People have, say suppose somebody's salary is currently 30,000 or your starting salary is 20,000 what the company is offering you. For the next job you can ask 30% higher than your current salary. But for a fresher, it is always better to say कि as per company norm. Now they will put forward XYZ figure to you. Okay? You heard about something called minimum wages here? Yeah? I'm sure everybody, right? It's always on the news and things like that. What is the minimum wage for today for a skilled employee? You are a BCA IT graduate, right? You guys are considered to be skilled employees. So what is the skilled salary, minimum salary of skilled graduate needs to get to go up?
20,000.
It is in a range from 70 to 80 euros. because these are government people hiring for 10 and 12,000. Minimum is that much they have to give you. Above that, obviously, there are very few companies who will offer you a minimum salary, which is there for a fresher, but majority can is always more than that. But no, don't settle for anything lesser than that also, because you need to have at least basic market knowledge about what is the minimum wage in Goa. You can always question them, say that today the minimum wage is, if they are offering you at 12,000 as a fresher, will you take it up? You can always question them, say that today's market is giving minimum wage only today at 18,000, how are you offering me 12? That is the reason market knowledge for everybody is very important. Again, it changes every 6 months. Some people are saying, my dear, the allowance changes every 6 months. So that also has to be updated. So by the time you pass out, you need to check the actual minimum wage at that time. No, I would not say all companies do it, but I'm sure it will be put forward for interviews and some companies might offer you something else. But for a fresher, the most diplomatic answer you need to give is that. As one company, you cannot have a figure in mind that I need 20,000 or 30,000 as a fresher. No. Yes? Clear? Any questions? If you all have anything to ask me with regards to interview questions, please feel free. Anybody? If you have any questions, please ask. All of them up to the mark after listening to all this questions. Okay, I think there's another question which says, how long do you expect? Another very important question of the salary. How long do you expect to work with them to hire? How long do you think we should take?
3.
How long? You cannot tell them 1 year and 2 years. It is going to be your training period is going to be the first 1 year. By the time you perform, you are planning to leave that year. It doesn't make sense to the company to hire you, right? So as long as you have professional growth in your organization, I will stay with you. Is what answer you need to give them. Very diplomatic answer. You cannot say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years and have a benchmark. That you do back-end. You leave a job, say suppose in 2 years you don't get a, you feel your professional growth is you're not growing in an organization, you switch your job. But don't tell the employer during an interview, tell them this is temporary, after 1 year, I'm working with them, that doesn't make sense. Because people do that nowadays. I'm going to go abroad, I'm going to take experience of 1 year and then go abroad. No. There are instances where parents are abroad and people are asked during an interview, your father or mother is abroad. You don't want to go abroad. People say, I will go, I'll take experience here and go. Then run. The entire half an hour you whispered with an employer is all gone. You need to say that I want to stay and make a career. You go later on, but you don't have to tell that so honestly to your employer during an interview. Because if you want to get a job, you have to speak to them their language and expect it to hear from you. Then back and you do whatever. Yes? I think it's true. Thank you very much. Anybody else? On behalf of our college, and the BCA Department, I would like to thank T.Y.B.C.A for coming here and giving you all at least some insight. I'm pretty sure if you all have not understood the rim to rim of it, at least something has gone in their head. And I'm pretty sure it is quite helpful that the session that we had. Apart from that, I've asked you several times in case you all had any questions. But in case you still have any questions or you want to ask something very specific and did not want to do it because of your fellowness, you can wait after this and interact with her. Okay? So once again, I would like to thank